What if the established timeline of human history is actually just a puzzle with several crucial pieces missing from the box? We keep finding these incredible artifacts that absolutely should not exist, discovered in places where their very presence defies all logic. Are we simply uncovering remnants of our true past? Or are these clues pointing toward a future timeline we have already managed to live through once before? Back in 1901, a routine dive on a Greek shipwreck unexpectedly revealed a device that gave historians an absolute technological nightmare to process. This incredible find was a sophisticated clockwork computer showcasing engineering complexity that was supposedly invented 2 full millennia after its creation date. The sheer level of micron-level precision engineered into its bronze components is genuinely staggering for anything from that era. Frankly, technology matching this level of refined mechanical thinking would not realistically reappear in human history for at least another 1,000 years. We must seriously ask ourselves right now, who exactly was the brilliant mind that designed this incredibly complex mechanical brain 2,000 years ago? How on earth could they possess the knowledge to calculate the complex movements of the stars with such surprisingly modern accuracy? Ultimately, the Antikythera mechanism stands today as history's most advanced, yet utterly inexplicable ancient ghost in the machine. Moving on, deep within the dusty ruins of ancient Iraq, archaeologists unearthed several peculiar clay jars holding copper and iron components. When these simple jars were carefully filled with a common acidic liquid like vinegar, they consistently produced a measurable electric charge. This electrical phenomenon was documented nearly 2 full thousand years before Alessandro Volta ever conceived of the voltaic pile. This begs the question, why would ancient Mesopotamians ever require a primitive source of electricity in their daily lives or rituals? Could this power have been used for early forms of rudimentary medicine, or perhaps for the electroplating of intricate gold ornaments? Even today, mainstream science remains understandably hesitant to officially categorize this assembly as a functional battery for record-keeping. Yet, the produced current is an undeniable physical reality, and the enduring mystery surrounding its purpose remains completely electric. Then, way out in 1986, explorers deep inside a New Zealand cave stumbled upon something genuinely terrifying and organic. They found a massive, partially flesh-covered claw complete with unbelievably sharp, prehistoric-looking talons still intact. The preserved tissue looked startlingly fresh, as if the enormous creature to which it belonged had only just recently passed away in that very spot. However, subsequent scientific testing revealed the awful truth. This biological remnant was actually over 3,000 years old. The critical question remains, just how did organic skin and muscle survive completely unmummified in a damp cave environment for that many millennia? Remember, the moa was a colossal, flightless bird that could stand nearly 3 meters tall, making this discovery even more bizarre. This find represents a genuine biological glitch in the historical record, looking uncannily like a prop straight out of a classic horror movie. Now, shifting our focus to Egypt, an unfinished obelisk sits abandoned in a vast quarry, weighing an astonishing 1,200 tons. This single piece of granite holds the undisputed record as the largest single piece of stone ever attempted to be carved by human hands. The original work was suddenly halted by a deep crack in the stone, leaving the entire colossal project frozen forever, in time right where it stands. But if you look closely at the deep scoop marks left in the granite, they tell an unbelievable story of impossibly easy removal. These marks look exactly as if a giant, powerful spoon was used to scoop out the hard rock as easily as one might move soft butter. It is impossible to believe that the relatively soft copper tools known to that era could have made such deep incisions into hard, dense granite. This forces us to wonder what kind of previously unknown or forgotten power source or cutting technology was truly being utilized here thousands of years ago. Perched high in the majestic Andes mountains lies Tiwanaku, an ancient ceremonial city that almost feels as if it were built for giants. The iconic gate of the Sunday structure itself is precisely carved from a single, solid 10-ton block of andesite stone. The unbelievable precision present in every single carving completely defies the supposed primitive tools available to the civilization of that era. Incredibly, etched onto its surface is a complex calendar system that simply does not seem to accurately match the orbital patterns of our current Earth. This ancient calendar system explicitly depicts a year composed of 290 distinct days, which is a very odd number indeed. Was this monumental city constructed by a truly lost, highly advanced civilization? Or could something even more unconventional have been responsible? The imposing gate remains steadfastly open to the elements, yet the incredibly skilled builders who created it have vanished without a trace. Far out in the vastness of the Pacific Ocean lies Madol, an entire mysterious city constructed upon 92 separate artificial islands. The construction required transporting and arranging an estimated 250 million tons of enormous, heavy basalt columns to this location. Local oral legends, which should not be dismissed lightly, actually claim the colossal stones were simply flown through the air to their final resting spots. Even today, modern civil engineers openly admit they have absolutely no concrete idea how those tons of rock were practically transported and stacked here. The city complex features no obvious or sustainable source of fresh drinking water, or any nearby reliable food supply for its inhabitants. The fundamental question remains: why would anyone expend such phenomenal resources to build such a massive, isolated stone fortress in the middle of nowhere? Nan Madol is a haunting, silent, coral-crusted monument that stubbornly stands as a testament to what appears to be the physically impossible. Consider the Voynich Manuscript, an incredibly strange book filled cover to cover with plants that botanists globally cannot identify because they simply do not exist. This legendary Voynich manuscript currently holds the unofficial title of being the world's most enduring and completely undecipherable mysterious text. Every single renowned codebreaker, cryptographer, and historian in recorded history has ultimately failed to translate a single coherent sentence from it. The reliable carbon dating process conclusively confirms that the parchment itself originated sometime in the 15th century, ruling out a modern hoax. Is this manuscript a lost medical compendium, an elaborate and complex hoax, or perhaps an alien botanical guide transcribed from an outside source? The more rigorously and deeply we continue to study its contents, the less concrete understanding we seem to gain about its original purpose. It ultimately stands as an impenetrable door into a completely foreign mindset and a system of knowledge we no longer possess on this earth. Easter Island is globally famous for its giant stone heads, but its unique system of writing is arguably even more enigmatic and strange. The Rongorongo tablets are completely covered in tiny, deeply carved glyphs and symbols that look like nothing else in human writing history. This distinctive writing system managed to develop entirely in complete isolation, completely separated from any influence from the rest of the wider world. Tragically, only a mere few dozen of these significant original writing tablets have managed to survive the passage of time and make it to our modern era. The vital key to translating this script was completely lost forever when the island's educated elite tragically vanished from existence. Is this writing detailing a secret history of the stars? Or does it perhaps contain an urgent, vital warning about an impending global end? The stone sentinels stand guard in absolute silence, holding the island's profound secrets tightly locked away within their stony hearts. Now, we travel beneath the ocean waves near Japan to discover the massive, mysterious Yonaguni monument structure submerged down there. This imposing underwater structure features startlingly perfect 90-degree angles and multiple, massive, flat terraces constructed in sequence. Skeptics argue vociferously that it must simply be a natural geological formation that happened to form this way over eons of time. But nature rarely bothers to construct perfectly symmetrical staircases or design elaborate, multi-level grand hallways in the deep ocean. If this formation is genuinely the work of intelligent hands, its estimated age would place it at over 10,000 years old, which is astonishing. Such an age would drastically and fundamentally rewrite the entire accepted history of complex civilization as we currently understand it. So, is this truly a lost sunken city from a forgotten epic? Or just an extremely rare, large, and bizarre freak of oceanic nature? Finally, we examine the infamous object at the bottom of the cold Baltic Sea, a massive disc-shaped structure resting on the seabed. Some observers jokingly, or perhaps seriously, noted that its perfectly circular shape bears a striking resemblance to a certain fictional famous spaceship. Divers who have dared to approach the Anomaly consistently report that their sophisticated electronic equipment suddenly fails completely when they get near it. Geologists officially maintain that the object is nothing more than a strangely shaped, naturally occurring glacial deposit left over from the last ice age. However, the structure's clearly visible, perfectly straight lines and sharp right angles strongly suggest something far more artificial was at play here. Furthermore, this massive disk appears to sit directly at the very end of a clearly defined 300-meter long feature resembling a runway. The cold, dark, deep water of the Baltic Sea continues to expertly guard its secrets from any further definitive investigation or discovery. Let's discuss the Dogon tribe living deep in Mali, Africa, who possessed astounding knowledge about a star completely invisible to us. They held detailed traditions concerning a star they called Sirius B, which is an intensely dim white dwarf star, completely invisible to the naked human eye. This companion star, Sirius B, was only cataloged and confirmed by our most powerful modern telescopes well into the 19th century. Yet, the Dogon people have been holding sacred annual ceremonies specifically centered around this very star for hundreds of years, long before its discovery. They accurately knew the star's incredible density and its precise long orbital period of just under 50 years around its primary. How could a remote, isolated tribe, without access to any kind of telescopes, possibly know the intimate secrets of this deep space object? The Dogon themselves consistently claim that this profound astronomical knowledge was an actual direct gift bestowed upon them by extraterrestrial visitors. When we gaze upon these incredible archaeological finds, we essentially see a haunting mirror reflecting a past far richer than we were ever taught in school. Perhaps the most difficult truth to accept is that we might not be the very first advanced civilization to ever successfully walk upon this planet. It is entirely possible that we are simply the most recent, and perhaps the least sophisticated, in a long recurring cosmic cycle. The dust will inevitably settle upon our own era, the silent stones of these mysteries will remain, and the fundamental questions will only grow louder. If the true, startling answers to all these anomalies were ever conclusively found, would the majority of humanity even be prepared or willing to believe them? For the discerning seeker, the greatest mystery doesn't conclude at this point. It is merely paused, waiting for the next dedicated hand to brush away the dust. This final breathtaking moment reveals that the person uncovering the ancient relic is a modern archaeologist, whose visor reflects a fully intact ancient city still standing in the background.